just said that, I kind of got the
food sovereignty now, which is part of the idea behind the alternative to this corporate food thing, whatever you want to call it, PR stunt. Someone has a sign. There it is. World Food Prize is a PR stunt. Just more greenwashing. Oh my gosh, it's Monsatan.
How so?
Who invited you?
How so?
How
Elaborate
so?
on that, would you?
Well, I mean, the people in here, well, you can look at who they are. But I mean, we have corporate agribusiness in here, basically, giving friends of theirs prizes for corrupting our food system, poisoning us with their chemicals, privatizing our seeds. I mean, it's corporate agribusiness is not the solution to world hunger, not the way to cool the planet. It's certainly not the way to feed people in a healthy, nutritious way. So that's why we're out here to sort of expose this as it's a horrible greenwashing event, and it shouldn't be. I mean, it's sort of sad that Des Moines is hosting this. That any town would want to host this type of event. I work with family farmers all the time, and I grew up on a farm, and the types of activities these corporations do are destroying family farmers. They're hurting farmers all around the world. Consumers as well are suffering. Our land, poisoning the soil, destroying our water, taking away our seeds, our common property. There's a better way, and that's food sovereignty. Everyone should have local democratic control over their food system.
Can that paradigm feed the amount of people?
Oh yeah, I mean, as we already know now, most of the food in the world is produced by small-scale farmers in the global south. It doesn't enter in the global commodity markets. Only 15% of the world's food crosses a border. So global trade in food is a very small percentage of total food production. So we have 800 million people in the world still saving their own seeds. Most food produced in most countries is eaten within that country. So the problem becomes when you have that small amount of food crossing borders, those are the commodities. It's like the tail wagging the dog, because that sets food prices. And all that trading's done in Chicago, where we've had protests as well about the commodity trading going on in Chicago, controlled by cartels, food cartels. So I mean, the price fixing there hurts family farmers, hurts consumers, just shovels profits into the Monsantos and the Cargills and the ADMs of the world, and that's just not fair. So the idea that they're feeding the world, I mean, what they're feeding is factory farms, high fructose corn syrup plants, and ethanol. That's what they're really feeding. I mean, most of this corn and soybeans being grown in Iowa, we cannot even eat. And you explain that to an African farmer who's here. We have farmers here from Kenya, farmers here from South Africa. They go outside of Des Moines, they see corn, and we have to explain to them, that's corn you cannot eat. Human beings cannot even eat that corn. That's all destined for ethanol plants or factory farm feed or livestock. So, I mean, they're not feeding the world. In fact, they're causing more hunger by criminalizing people saving their own seeds, by land grabbing, taking away people's farmland, evicting peasants from their farms when they could be feeding their own families. So I mean, they have a lot of culpability on their hands here. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. What's in those buses?
The folks that are going over to the World Food Prize ceremony. And we're here to tell them that there is an alternative to the World Food Prize. And it's the Food Sovereignty Prize, and it's about local people growing food to help regenerate the environment and to feed their families and their communities. And those are the folks that are going to end hunger in this world, not corporations.
Thank you.
Give us a hug!
What are you ladies doing out here today?
Well, we're protesting.
And for why?
We're protesting the World Food Prize that's going on simultaneously.
But don't they feed the world?
Well, only with their seeds. Monsanto seeds. And I want to recommend that you watch the documentary called Bitter Seeds. It's all about the hundreds of thousands of farmers in India that have killed themselves because they could only get Monsanto seeds and then insecticide, but it didn't protect them against the mealybug, which totally destroyed their cotton crop. Meanwhile, they had put up their 3 acres of land as collateral, and they had to give that to the guy, the big guns. So they had nothing left in their life. It's terrible, terrible.
Trying to point out the difference between the industrialized ag
as done by the World Food Prize, in contrast to the World Sovereignty Food Prize, which is a prize given to farmers who have integrity. They are allowed to keep their culture, the size farms that are feeding their area very well. Doesn't necessarily have to be small, as just in what some people might think is a very small plot. There are middle-sized farms that are doing very well without huge amounts of chemicals polluting the water and harming the soil. It's a fallacy to say the only way we can feed the world is with industrialized ag. There is a report that was put out a few years back, not very many, just I think 4 or 5 years back, by Iowa State University. It's called the Marsden Report, M-A-R-S-D-E-N. You have to Google it because they're not publicizing it much. But it shows how middle-sized farms, farming without the excessive use of chemicals as these huge farms are, could very well feed the world. So we don't need to buy what the chemical companies are saying. The companies that are making huge profits off of pesticides, herbicides, artificial fertilizers, they are making huge profits. They want to continue to make them. So they have to have the line that the only way you can feed the world is that way.
Thank you. Yeah. Just common folks in the Mercedes and the stretch limos and that, they're just common farm folks.